In the second integration by parts problem, what you're going to see is that initially the first integration by parts doesn't give us something to completely get to the answer. So watch. When you take a look at this function, the integrand here, well, the best choice for u is x squared. So we're going to let u be equal to x squared. If you go the other way around, you're going to notice that when you do your integration for dv, you're going to come up with something that's more difficult, okay, to work with. So dv is going to be equal to what's left, which is cosine x dx. So now, following the pattern here, I need to find the derivative of this guy, and the integral of this guy, there's no d there at the end, okay? So now what I've got here is, although this guy didn't become more simple, this guy did, okay? So the form is to integrate u dv, that's u times v minus the integral of v du. So u is x squared, and v is sine x. So minus now v, and du is 2x dx. So what we did was we reduced, if you notice, we reduced the power on the inside by 1. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to repeat the process with this piece right here. So let me use a different color. So I'm going to repeat the process, and I'm going to let u be equal to 2x, and dv, now this is different than up here, right? So kind of a separate problem. So dv is equal to sine x dx. So what's left over? So du is equal to 2 dx, and v is equal to negative cosine x. So I'm going to put that in here as the replacement. So what I've got here is x squared times sine x minus u times v minus the integral of v du. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute this negative in and work around with this guy here. So I've got x squared sine x plus 2x cosine x. Negative and negative give me positive, but it's still minus. So minus 2 cosine x dx. So this will be x squared sine x plus 2x cosine x. Okay, cosine, the integral of cosine, so the antiderivative here, we go back to sine, so this would be minus 2 sine x plus our constant of integration, just like that. Okay. Now let's go ahead and check to make sure that this is correct. So I'll do that here in blue. So we want to differentiate this. So what I want is ddx So I need to differentiate each one of these. I can distribute that in, think about differentiating each of these separately. So the derivative of the first gives me this. The derivative of the next guy gives me this. And then the derivative of this guy right here gives me that. And now the derivative of the constant is just 0. So now what we're going to do is we're going to play around with this a little bit. Okay, I've got negative sine 2x and positive sine 2x. So these guys are going to go away. And then I've got negative cosine x and positive cosine x, both multiplied by 2. So these guys will go away. And all that I'm left with at the end is x squared times the cosine of x. And that is exactly what we started with.